Hello, guys, and welcome to Miss German Let's Talk. Here we dive into the wildest, funniest, and darkest Reddit stories that we can potentially find on the internet, especially on our favorite platform, Reddit. So grab a drink, sit back, and let's get right into today's episode. We have a user asking the question, what is your personal ghost story? And I wanted to do this video today. Why? Because I ain't feeling the Christmas vibe yet. Unfortunately, I ain't, but hopefully it comes after hearing those horror stories that you guys have. So, first user is writing, I was in India on a trip. At 17 in 2012, my granddad was in hospital, but I had no idea it was life threatening. He did, and my mom did, and they had the conversation to cancel the trip but never told me, and I went in the end. He died 3 days after I took off. I saw him in a dream, my age, in army clothes, standing at the side of the minibus I was doing a trip on. He didn't look like him, just a kid, but I knew it was him. When I woke up on the bus, I must have wept until 3 a.m., until sunrise, and I just knew. When I landed, the news was oh no sorry when I landed, the news was broke to me. The dates coincide perfectly, and he told my mom to let me go before because he was stationed in India at 17 in World War II and wanted me to go as well. It was a goodbye, very bittersweet. Oh wow, guys, that's I mean, I do know a lot of people are also around my vicinity who had like similar kinds of experiences. Like it's a weird coincidence that we have with people around us who are like close to us and pass away and that we love, that there's always like a kind of feeling that we're getting. It's it's kind of weird like to explain, but like some people just have like this connection of, oh, they know, right? Because I gotta say, there was like a very very close person to me that I was just laying in bed and I started like crying one night. That was like in the middle of the night, like point 12 a.m., right? um and I started crying and praying for that person. And I found out, I got the news. That's just my personal story. I got the news like the day after, when I was like going to class, to get out of class, because the principal called me and was like, "Oh, that person passed away. That was part of your family." And I'm like, "When did they pass away?" They're like, "At 12 a.m." And I was like, "Oh shit!" So I kind of knew. And we have also another like comment here down below with another user saying, I had a similar experience the day after my granddad died. I had the most vivid dream of him as a young man wearing clothes and a very distinctive glasses. I've never seen him in, but I knew it was him. He just hugged me and I knew he was alright. Then he turned around and put his arm around someone who I knew was my nan. She had passed away a few years before, and I woke up. Afterwards, I told my mom about the dream, and she fished out a photo of him. I've never seen it in his youth, and he was wearing the exact same very unusual style of glasses. It was uncanny. I've never had a dream so loud before or since. That is crazy. That's actually crazy to like just have. I feel like the people who just pass away and where you had a very strong connection to and meant a lot, they just want to like let you know that they are doing fine now, right? That they are fine, that they want you to be safe, and that you will be reunited at one point. Next story. Growing up, my sister was a daemon. The family home was haunted. Of course. Old school. Lots of noises in the night, but I never saw anything. Fast forward to last year, sister and I have moved out, and we sometimes stay at home when mom and dad are away to look after house animal. They had an extension done around 2018, and this included a large double bedroom with an ensuite that, sorry guys, I wanted to like brag with my French, but whatever, ensuite, that was added on where nothing was before. The room is set out that the bed is directly opposite the door and you can see out onto the landing. I was there with my dogs. Mom was in her bedroom at the other end of the house. Dogs are asleep on the bed with me, and I'm woken by the noise of something running in the attic or loft. above my head. To the right of the room and back again. It wasn't imaging it. I wasn't imagining it. The dogs were looking up to where the noise was coming from too. I put it down to rat and bats and turned over to go back to sleep, which would be, to be fair, the right first thing to think about when you hear like some noises coming from like upstairs. Then it's mostly some kind of animal scratching or you have like a bad problem. So in turnover, I noticed someone peering around the doorway. Okay, that is where it becomes creepy. I distinctively remember it being a woman. I wasn't particularly scared, just unnerved. Oh wow, my guy just ignored the ghost. I thought at first it was my mom and said out loud, "Mom," no response. So I asked again. Oh, this story gives me chills. I love it. At this point, I flicked on the light and nothing was there. I got up and sure enough, my mom was in bed. This was 4 a.m., so I went back to bed a little shaken and didn't say anything. A couple of months later at Christmas, we were all at my mom's house, and my sister and her partner were attempting to get me to have a few drinks and stay the night, saying the big room was free. I immediately refused, and her boyfriend's face dropped and he asked me why. I replied that I didn't feel comfortable in that room, and without prompt, he asked me if I'd seen the lady and described the exact same scenario I experienced. Turns out his daughter, 14, has seen her too. Oh, guys, that is a extremely scary story. Especially, you'd probably, because you told me at the beginning of the story, right? That it is it is probably a new room because your dad and your mom did like an extension in 2018 with a large double bedroom. So probably you guys have built on someone's grave. That could be something if you want to believe in the paranormal. So maybe you should like check out if you ever see my video. Okay, and we have the next story going on here. Used looked after the 16th century's pub in Dorset. Was on my own on the Sunday shift in November, last punted left at around 2100, and shortly afterwards I heard footsteps walking in the pub. First thought was, great, a punter. So much for sitting my arse and watching Teely in the back bar. Saw a tall, shadowy figure walk past the bar, and I thought it was odd they didn't stand by the bar. I then assumed it was a woman nipping on the loo, as there are past the bar in that direction of travel. Minutes pass and no sign. She must be having a number two, no need to worry. Soon it becomes unbearable. I actually start to feel a bit sick. I poke my head in to the lady just to see. It's now been 10 minutes. Automatic light comes on. No one about. Not even the light aroma of poop. Okay, now it feels cold, desperately cold, and the feel of dread and sickness is ramping up. Hair on the arms standing up. It feels like I'm being now not watched but stared at. I closed down as quickly as possible and locked up early. Told the landlady what happened, and she had the same experience. Also, the sound of someone in the kitchen throwing things about. And that's the moment where something like this happens. You just get the fuck out of there, right? Because otherwise, you know, shit happens and start of a horror movie. That's how it always starts, guys. Next story, and the last one as well. My grandfather died on the day before my 21st birthday. Stayed up late into the night crying, and just after 2 a.m., this house phone rang. I was surprised, but went to answer it, and it was making a dial tone. I did 1471, and it said the last call was my mom's number the previous day. Then it rang again, same thing, and again I got freaked out and unplugged the phone and went to bed. I phoned my mom and mentioned it to her the next day, and she said I was born just after 2 a.m., so she was convinced It was her dad calling to say happy birthday. The phone rang somewhere around 11 p.m. every night after that, and it never showed up on 1471. I replaced the handset in case it was faulty, but it continued to ring for a few years. Probably a fault on the line, but the timing of it starting was a huge coincidence. Ooh, guys, what a story that was at the end. I mean, that seems very creepy to happen. I don't have really an explanation for why that happened. Maybe you can make your conspiracy theories about it. Because, ladies and gentlemen, that's it for today's stories. And I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, don't forget to like the video and subscribe for more. I'll be back soon with more crazy Reddit stories. See you soon. Bye.